All right, Raindrop. So we are going to have our live YouTube show tonight. We have to get into Love and Marriage Huntsville, the TikTok of it all. Listen, the TikTok recaps of the latest episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville has me in stitches. I love it, love it, love it. Shout out to all the TikTok content creators who are talking about that scene that we're going to talk about.
Family, listen closely, because what just happened in the world of Love and Marriage Huntsville has the entire internet spinning. Just when people thought they had seen every twist, every argument, every shocking moment this show could possibly deliver, Carlos King stepped in and flipped the whole game upside down. And when I say flipped, I mean completely changed the conversation overnight. Fans were casually scrolling through social media expecting the usual updates. Maybe a cast member throwing shade, maybe another rumor about the upcoming season. But then, suddenly, Carlos dropped a surprise so big that viewers literally had to read it twice just to believe it. People started asking the same question everywhere. Wait, did Carlos really just do that? Because if you know Carlos King, you know he understands one thing better than almost anyone in reality television: how to keep people talking. But this time, it wasn't just a small tease or a clever promotional post. This was something bigger, something bold, something that could completely change the future of Love and Marriage Huntsville. And the reactions? Whew. Some fans are excited, some are shocked, and others are already predicting that this move could ignite a brand new wave of drama that the cast might not even be ready for. But to understand why this surprise hit so hard, we have to step back for a moment and remember how we even got here in the first place. Because the story of Love and Marriage Huntsville has never just been about television. It's been about friendships falling apart, marriages tested in public, and the complicated reality of trying to build a legacy while cameras capture every mistake. From the very beginning, Carlos King had a vision for this show. He didn't want another typical reality series filled with random arguments and shallow storylines. He wanted something deeper, something that showed successful Black couples navigating love, business, family, and the pressures that come with success. That vision turned into Love and Marriage Huntsville, and almost instantly, audiences connected with it. The show introduced viewers to couples like Melody and Martell Holt, Maurice and Kimmy Scott, and Marcel and Letitia Scott. These weren't strangers thrown together for television drama. They were people who had real friendships, real businesses, and real histories long before the cameras arrived. And that's exactly why the show worked. The emotions were real, the tensions were real, and unfortunately, the betrayals were real too. Over time, viewers watched one of the most painful storylines in reality TV history, the breakdown of Melody and Martell Holt's marriage. What started as a picture-perfect partnership slowly turned into a public storm, filled with accusations, heartbreak, and painful truths. Fans watched Melody fight to protect her peace while raising her children and rebuilding her life. They watched Martell struggle under the weight of his own choices and the consequences that followed. Meanwhile, the Scotts were dealing with their own complicated dynamics. Marcel and Letitia often found themselves defending their marriage against criticism, while Maurice and Kimmy tried to navigate their own challenges with strength and grace. The show became more than entertainment. It became a mirror of real relationships. But as the seasons continued, something started to change. Some fans began to feel like the show was losing the spark that once made it must-watch television. The drama was still there, yes, but people started complaining that certain conflicts felt repetitive. Arguments would happen, apologies would follow, then the same issues would pop up again. And the audience noticed. Social media filled with comments from fans who loved the show but wanted something fresh, something honest, something that felt like the early seasons again. Carlos King heard those conversations, and if there's one thing people should know about Carlos, it's this: he pays attention to his audience. But nobody expected the move he was about to make, because the surprise he just revealed didn't simply tweak the show, it changed the entire experience for viewers. Here's where things get really interesting. The internet exploded when Carlos announced that Love and Marriage Huntsville would soon introduce a major shift that fans have been asking for but never believed would actually happen. For the first time, viewers will get access to raw, unfiltered behind-the-scenes footage that has never been shown before. Let that sink in for a moment. Not just bonus clips, not just deleted scenes. We're talking about real moments that happened when cameras were still rolling but never made it into the final episodes. Moments when the cast forgot the world was watching. Moments when emotions were too intense to hide. Moments when the truth came out without filters. For years, fans suspected that some of the most explosive conversations were happening off-camera or being edited out of the show. Viewers would see a fight start in one episode, then suddenly it seemed like pieces of the story were missing. People would jump onto Instagram Lives and interviews trying to fill in the gaps. Now, Carlos is saying those missing moments are about to be revealed. And that's exactly why the internet is losing its mind right now. Because imagine what could be hiding in those unseen clips. What if there are conversations between Melody and Martell that nobody has ever heard before? What if there are arguments between the Scotts that were too intense to air at the time? What if friendships that looked fine on camera were actually crumbling behind the scenes? That kind of footage doesn't just add drama. It changes the entire narrative. Fans are already speculating about what they might finally see. Some believe this footage will show just how painful certain moments really were for Melody during the darkest days of her marriage. Others think it could expose private disagreements between cast members who later tried to pretend everything was fine. And then there's the possibility that the unseen footage might reveal conversations about loyalty, business deals, and friendships that viewers never knew existed. But here's the twist nobody expected. Carlos didn't stop there, because while fans were still trying to process the idea of never-before-seen footage, he dropped another surprise that made things even bigger: a brand new reunion format. Now, if you've watched Love and Marriage Huntsville reunions before, you know they can get heated. Carlos usually sits down with the cast and asks tough questions, while everyone revisits the season's biggest arguments. But this time, something different is happening. For the first time ever, fans themselves will have a direct voice in the reunion. That means audience questions, fan polls, and real-time reactions from the people who have been watching every episode from the very beginning. In other words, the cast won't just be answering to each other anymore, they'll be answering to the viewers, and that changes everything, because fans have been holding on to questions for years. Questions about Martell's past decisions, questions about whether certain friendships on the show were ever truly genuine, questions about why some cast members defend behavior that viewers clearly disagree with. Now, those questions might finally be asked face to face. And if there's one thing reality television has taught us, it's this: when the audience becomes part of the conversation, things can get messy very quickly. But beyond the excitement and shock, there's also a deeper emotional layer to all of this. Because these surprises don't just affect the fans, they affect the people whose lives have been playing out on screen for years. For Melody, seeing unseen footage could bring back painful memories she worked hard to move past. Watching moments from the most difficult chapter of her life might reopen wounds she fought so hard to heal. But at the same time, it might also give viewers a clearer understanding of what she went through and why so many people admire her strength today. For Martell, this new format could be even more challenging. Fans have spent years debating his actions and choices. Facing questions directly from viewers could force him to confront opinions he's never had to answer publicly before. And for the Scotts, the pressure could be just as intense. Marceau and Letitia have often found themselves defending their marriage against rumors and criticism. A fan-driven reunion could bring those conversations right back into the spotlight. But maybe that's the point, because Love and Marriage Huntsville has never been a show about perfect lives. It's about real people making mistakes, learning lessons, and trying to grow while the world watches. And sometimes growth only happens when the truth is finally out in the open. So what does all this mean for the future of the show? Honestly, it means the stakes are higher than ever. Carlos King just reminded everyone why he's considered one of the smartest producers in reality television. Instead of ignoring fan feedback, he turned it into something powerful. He gave viewers more transparency, more honesty, and potentially more drama than ever before. But as exciting as this new chapter might be, there's also a deeper lesson hiding beneath the headlines. Because behind every viral moment, every shocking clip, and every heated reunion argument, there are real human lives involved. People who loved each other once, friends who built businesses together, families trying to protect their children from the chaos of public scrutiny. Reality television often makes these stories feel like entertainment, but the emotions behind them are very real. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the struggle to rebuild after everything falls apart. Those experiences don't disappear when the cameras stop recording. They stay with the people who lived them. And maybe that's why Love and Marriage Huntsville continues to capture attention after all these years, not because the drama is shocking, but because the emotions feel authentic. People see pieces of their own relationships in these stories: the fear of losing someone you once trusted, the pain of realizing a friendship wasn't as strong as you believed, the courage it takes to walk away and start over. Those are universal experiences. And now, with Carlos opening the door to unseen moments and giving fans a louder voice than ever before, the show is entering a brand new chapter, one where fewer things are hidden, one where more truths may come to light, and one where the audience itself becomes part of the story. So buckle up, family, because if this surprise is any indication of what's coming next, Love and Marriage Huntsville is far from slowing down. In fact, it might be heading straight into its most explosive era yet. And the real question now isn't just what the cast will say. The real question is what the truth will reveal when the cameras show everything. Because once those unseen moments are finally exposed, nothing will ever look the same again.